The shrimp po' boy is one of the most underrated sandwiches out there. This New Orleans classic is piled high with zesty golden brown fried shrimp, tomato, lettuce, pickles, and homemade mayonnaise on French bread. And the best part is, it's crazy easy to make. So let's start off by prepping up some shrimp. Sound good? Let's cook.
I've got 2 pounds or 907 grams of fresh shrimp, size 1620. They need to be peeled and deveined, and I highly recommend one of these little peeler deveiners. Couple bucks online, really great. Push it through at the top, pull up, pinch the legs, and then wrap the shell around. Should come right off. Then what I'm going to do is just pull the tail off on this one. Perfect. Repeat the process until all the shrimp are peeled and deveined, adding them to a bowl, then going over to the sink. We want to rinse them really well. Make sure that intestine line is completely washed out. Absolutely beautiful.
Now, just about any size shrimp will work for this recipe, and you can even thaw out frozen, no problem. I prefer to use 16 to 20 or 26 to 30, which means 16 to 20 or 26 to 30 make up 1 pound. But again, you feel free to use what you want. What we're going to do is make a very delicious marinade for the shrimp.
In a large bowl, I'm going to add 1 cup or 225 grams of cultured buttermilk. Next, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of Creole mustard. You could use regular stone ground mustard. Then 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of Cajun seasoning. I've got a great recipe on my website, or it's the one in my jambalaya recipe video. Then just a dash of hot sauce. If you've got some crystals, even better. Whisk it together until it is completely combined, then have a taste. See if it needs any more seasoning at this stage, because next, we're going to add in 2 large eggs. You obviously can't taste it after this stage. Whisk this until it's mixed together. Then let's grab those peeled and deveined shrimp, add them right into it. Then using your hands or a rubber spatula, just mix everything together until it's completely coated. Once it is, we're just going to pop it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes and start on everything else.
Now, classically, just mayonnaise would be used in this recipe, and I'm totally cool with that. But what if we upped it a little bit and made my Cajun Remoulade? Now, I already have a recipe for this that you can check out, and essentially it's just mayonnaise. It's got some lemon juice, hot sauce, seasonings, a little bit of horseradish. Yeah, the flavors are phenomenal, but you be the judge on whether you want to use this or mayonnaise. All right, let's knock out some veggie prep.
I've got 1 head of fresh iceberg lettuce. We want to remove the core. I usually just give it a little smash and it pulls right out with ease. Perfect. Set it to the side. Then what we're going to do is just quarter this head of lettuce. Now you're not going to need all of it, so be sure to set any to the side. Then what we want to do is thinly slice it. Honestly, much like a julienne, this is going to be the lettuce that's on our sandwich. Set that to the side. Then I've got a couple Roma tomatoes that we're going to thinly slice. I love using Roma tomatoes because it's a great tomato to use all year round. If you've got vine ripes in the summer, definitely use those. Then I have a few dill pickles. I've got an awesome recipe for homemade dill pickles. Definitely check those out. We're also just going to thinly slice these. Then set all of this to the side because it's almost fried shrimp time.
The po' boy sandwich originated in 1929 at the Martin Brothers French Market restaurant. Now, the term po' boy displaced a much older term for larger sandwiches known as loaf and loaves during the 1929 streetcar strike. There is some incredible history about this sandwich and a lot of support going to those strikers. If you have a chance to read up on it, I highly suggest you do. All right, we're now going to heat up some oil.
I've got a 4-quart or 3.8 liter pan. We're adding it to the cooktop. Next, we're just going to add in some neutral flavored oil. Any neutral flavored oil you feel comfortable using, please use it. Fill the pan up halfway. Turn the heat to low medium, and we want to get it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius. In a 13 by 9 pan, doesn't matter if it's metal or ceramic, let's add in 1.5 cups or 180 grams of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups or 240 grams of cornmeal, then 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of that same Cajun seasoning from earlier. And because I want to make sure it's seasoned very well, I'm just going to add in a pinch more of sea salt. Then whisk this together until it is completely combined. And again, taste it. Make sure it's seasoned enough because it's going to be the batter for our shrimp.
All right, Comies, traditionally just cornmeal was used as the batter, and you can 100% do that. For me, I do like to cut it in half with the flour and the cornmeal. I think it makes it lighter and fluffier. Now, if you want to take it next level, try to add in 2 to 3 tablespoons or 15 to 22.5 grams of cornstarch. Next level fluffiness. All right, let's get these coated up and in the fryer.
All right, let's just take our shrimp out. Then what we're going to do is using one hand for the wet, the other hand for the dry. Take a good sized handful, add it right to that flour mixture. Then using the other hand, completely coat the shrimp on all sides. Then I like to use a little strainer or sifter just to get rid of any excess flour. Then I repeat the process over and over again until all the shrimp are completely battered up and set them to the side on a sheet tray lined with parchment paper. Once they are all battered up, let's go over to the oil. It's nice, perfect temperature. If you don't have a thermometer, just throw a little flour in there. If it sizzles up like this, we're good to go. Now, because there's so much shrimp, we're definitely only going to be able to cook a half of it at a time. And honestly, this is only going to cook for 2 to 3 minutes max. Cook them till they're golden brown and completely cooked through. These look excellent. We're going to set them to the side on a sheet tray with a rack to drain off any excess oil.
And now for the bread. It's not going to be a traditional French baguette that you may be used to. No, it's a little bit wider and still has that beautiful brown crust. It's much more buttery, tender in the inside, just much more dense. Now, to show support during that strike I was telling you about, the owner of Martin Brothers Restaurant reached out to their bread supplier, John Gendusa, and said, hey, we're not going to do that baguette anymore. We're going to do this. I mean, they take this so seriously. If you were in New Orleans, they would call it New Orleans-style French bread. They mean business. All right, so what we're going to do is butter it up and get it toasted.
So I've got a few of these homemade loaves of French bread. If you want to pick this up from the grocery store, no problem. We're going to need 4 total pieces. So slice off the end, slice in half, then slice it right down the center long ways. Then I have 1 stick or 113 grams of softened unsalted butter. Generously and evenly distribute that butter through each side of our sliced bread. Then I'm going right over to my flat top. If you've got a cast iron skillet or a regular pan, fine. Just going to cook it until toasted. That's it. All we're looking to do is toast up the bread just like this. Perfect.
It smells so good in here. Sorry, I probably ate 3 or 4 shrimp off camera. They're good. I can't help it. But when it comes to a po' boy sandwich, don't think of it as just shrimp, because you could also do oysters, clams, even roast beef. There are many ways to make a po' boy. All right, here's how we're going to plate mine up.
All right, for that bottom bun, let's add a good amount of that shredded lettuce. Then we're going to layer on with the sliced tomatoes. Next, the sliced pickles, and you can be generous here. There's no rule to how much or how little you want to choose. Then let's add on all that delicious shrimp. Put as many of them on there as you possibly can. You may be able to make 4 sandwiches. You may be able to make 6, depending on how much shrimp you want on there. All right, for that Cajun Remoulade on that top bun, then add it to the top. Absolutely gorgeous.
This came together so easily, and the shrimp are incredible. I think if you make this, you and your family are really going to enjoy it. Now, if you love that Louisiana-style food, definitely check out my gumbo. It is to die for. I've got an awesome recipe video. I'll see you on there.